Again. They were caught cheating again. Hendrick, for the love of Christ, stop cheating. Why? You literally just got away. The appeals panel gave you a get out of jail free card and gave you back 100 points for the crap that happened in Phoenix with the hood lovers. And now you do this? Following Richmond, NASCAR took the 48 car and the 24 car William Byron and Alex Bowman cars respectively to the NASCAR R&D Center and handed them an L1 penalty. The reasoning for the penalty was that NASCAR found that each of the two cars modified a greenhouse area on the next gen car during post-race inspection. As a result of that, both Byron and Bowman will lose each 60 driver points and 5 playoff points. The team also loses 60 owner points and 5 playoff owner points. On top of that, the team's respective crew chief, Brian Camp and Greg Ives, were fined each $75,000 and suspended for the next 2 points races starting April 13th. Not this weekend, considering the penalties happening so late. To give you an idea on how crazy this is, that means now Hendrick Motorsports has been fined in total $550,000 in 1 month. Hendrick will now have an interim crew chief for Byron and Bowman starting on April 13th. What? Apparently, Hendrick, or at least from the two cars, they modified the motor where the windshield wiper is on around the window area of the car. That's what they modified. I don't know what they modified it for, how it helped with performance. I don't know what, but that's what they caught for. But I just don't understand. Hendrick, you got a jail out of free card with what happened at Phoenix with the hood lovers. And now you pull this. Maybe it's NASCAR just being very petty and just be like, you know what, we're going to make sure that y'all get penalized. But to me, this is absolutely hilarious. But now the question is, you know damn well Hendrick Motorsports is going to appeal this. And I swear, if the appeals board doesn't uphold this, there's going to be a riot. There's no way. There's going to be a riot within the NASCAR fan base and the NASCAR garage, because then that'll be twice now within a 2-3 week span that Hendrick is going to get jail out of free card. But now this is not as severe as the L2 penalty, where they lost 100 driver and owner points and 10 playoff points. This time they only lose 60. I believe Alex Bowman will still be in the top 16 or top 10 in points. I believe Byron, though, will fall out of the top 16. I have to look at the point standings. But Byron's already locked in because he already has the 2 wins that he has. So instead of having 15 playoff points, he will have 10 playoff points currently. But I just feel that because if you look at what Hendrick is being penalized for, I feel like this is NASCAR being very petty, because we know that NASCAR was very disappointed, and I would even argue angry, that Hendrick Motorsports basically got the most important thing back, and that was the points. The fine and the crew chief suspension was upheld, but they got back the points, and I think NASCAR was the most upset about that. So the fact that they took something like this, they look at a windshield part of the car, or the windshield motor, whatever that area of the car. The fact that they looked at something as minute as that's coming out very petty from NASCAR, but I don't blame them. But I won't be surprised if this is going to be a new beginning for NASCAR looking at Hendrick Motorsports this season, because I don't believe this was random at all. I know in the rule book it says it can be random. At times it's random, but also sometimes NASCAR will purposefully pick a car just to see, like, hey, is there anything going on over there? And the fact that they picked the 2 Hendrick cars after what happened the previous week, the previous Wednesday leading up to Richmond, where all 4 of them basically got jailed out with the points. I won't be surprised if NASCAR had an agenda and looked at least 2 of those Hendrick cars and go, all right, let's just take a deeper look and see if we can find something to make sure that they get penalized hard. But this is absolutely hilarious and just ridiculous, because it's like, why? And who knows? I mean, at this rate, if both the 24 and the 48 were found to have these parts, why can't we assume the 5 and the 9? Because NASCAR, they don't take all of the cars back to the R&D center. They just select a certain number. They could have taken the 5 and 9. I'm pretty sure if the 24 and the 48 has something, more than likely the 5 and the 9 has something as well, or at least something modified. At this point, who knows? I mean, it's Hendrick Motorsports. At this point, they are becoming one of the slimiest teams this year, because that's now twice in a short amount of time they're getting caught with penalties. So now Ross Chastain becomes a new points leader. Alex Bowman goes from 1st in the point standings to 7th in the point standings, now minus 56, while William Byron goes from 4th in the point standings to 14th in the point standings, minus 91. So that's how it stands at the moment. But that's absolutely hilarious. NASCAR is not gonna give Hendrick an inch for the rest of this year. Based on how the last few weeks have gone, NASCAR is gonna make sure that probably every single time they take a car back to the R&D center, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna involve a Hendrick car because this is ridiculous. But yeah, we will have a video maybe Wednesday or the Wednesday after announcing that, you know, Hendrick will appeal and they will get the case overturned, get the points back, because I hate this appeals panel board and they're ridiculous and stupid, because not only did this happen on the same day, but a few hours ago, Denny Hamlin, where he had his appeal take place, and that was upheld because of the incident that happened between him and Ross Chastain, where Hamlin put Chastain in the wall and then admitted it a few days later on his podcast, Actions Detrimental. Again, I think this is stupid because Hamlin, he got a fine plus points deduction. Yet what Daniel Suarez did, you know, he ran into a guy on purpose on pit road when there were people walking by. He only got a fine. What sense does that make? Why does an on-track action when they're racing, green flag, coming to the finish of the race, why is that given a heavier penalty than a guy running into another guy on pit road when there's people around? What sense does that make? Again, this appeals panel board makes absolutely no sense. From Hendrick to Colleague to Hamlin, and now what's going to happen with Hendrick again in the next couple weeks, because we know that Hendrick's going to appeal and Colleague is appealing the appeal for that. So there's so much going on with this appeals board BS that I'm just sick and tired of it. I think it's ridiculous that Hamlin's, at the very least, you can give him a fine. I think a fine would have been fine. But to not at least give back the points, I think is ridiculous. What Suarez did, in my eyes, was more dangerous than what Hamlin did. Because what Hamlin did is 2 drivers racing for position. And on top of that, it's green flag. They didn't wreck. Hamlin just put Chastain in the wall. They didn't wreck. They didn't do anything like that. Suarez ran into 2 drivers on pit road when there was an official right in front of them. I'm not trying to paint Suarez as a bad guy here. I'm not doing that at all. I like Suarez. But when you compare the cases, one had a potential to have a worse outcome than the other. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that Hamlin's penalty was more severe than Suarez, yet what Suarez did in my eyes was more severe than what Hamlin did. Again, this is something I said during my Colleague Racing video. Where is the consistency? And where's the transparency? I do know that next weekend's episode of Actions Detrimental is going to be very interesting because I know Hamlin is going to sound off. But what are your thoughts on these 2 stories about Hamlin's penalty being upheld and Hendrick getting penalized again? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.